वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. In the last class, which was 2 weeks ago, on December 4 in India and on December 3 evening in the West, we completed chapter 9, Rajavidya Rajaguhya Yoga of Srimad Bhagavad Geetā. As all of you surely remember, the 9th chapter concluded with a bang where Lord Sri Krishna said, all that you need to do in order to make your life truly meaningful, to make your living sublime, to free yourself from all bondage, sorrow, all that you need to do, he said in the 34th verse, the last verse of chapter 9, Manmana bhava madbhaktaha, madhyaji mam namaskuru, mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. Essentially, the first half of the shloka gives 4 instructions. Manmana bhava, madbhaktaha bhava, madhyaji bhava, mam namaskuru. If you wish, you can turn this into a prayer, not Lord Krishna saying to you what you should do, but you saying to Lord Krishna, you promising Lord Sri Krishna what you will do. So the little Sanskrit twist will be, though the meter is disturbed, doesn't matter. Sri Krishna says to you, Manmana bhava. Promise him, Tvanmana bhavami. I will fix my mind in you. Madbhaktaha, says Sri Krishna. Tvadbhaktaha bhavami. Or for ladies, Tvadbhakta bhavami. Madhyaji. Promise Sri Krishna. Tvadyaji bhavami. Sri Krishna says, Mam namaskuru, salute me, bow down before me. You may say to him, Tvam namaskaromi. Tvanmana bhavami, Tvadbhaktaha, Tvadyaji, Tvam namaskaromi, Tvameva yeshyami. I will thereby reach you. Tvameva yeshyami. By uniting myself to you is the next part. There also, you may say, that doesn't change. Yuktva evam atmanam. The last word also needs a little change. Tvatparayana. Always holding you as the supreme reality. There are a number of Bhagavad Geetā shlokas where the shloka might be said by Arjuna or by Sri Krishna or by Sanjaya, and you may change them a little bit and make them your prayers, your submission, your promise, your commitment to the Lord, to spiritual life. Here we are on this morning in India, December 18, and we are going to start now the 10th chapter, which is called Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti here is in the sense of Vaibhava, glory, splendor, Sri Krishna's greatness. And as Sri Krishna represents the Supreme Godhead here, it is God's greatness. If some of you are Shiva Bhaktas, it is Shiva's greatness. In this particular context, Sri Krishna comes forward. He is on the stage. Other forms are behind. In the vision of Sanatana Dharma, where there is one God, but many forms, giving the wonderful options to devotees to choose a form that they like. That is the great grand concept of Ishtadevata in Sanatana Dharma. So, Vibhuti is God's glories. Therefore, we will take a look straight away at how Adi Shankara introduces this 10th chapter. He says that in the 7th chapter, the glories of Sri Krishna were mentioned. As you may remember, Sutre Manigana Iva. I hold so much of wondrous, glorious aspects of this creation, so many wonderful personalities, so many heroes, heroines, so many great women and men. In all their greatness, I am the support. Like a thread holds pearls or other precious stones together. The thread itself may not be visible. The pearls are visible, but holding them together, running through them, is the thread. Like that, in the 7th chapter, he had said, I hold in place whatever is glorious in this creation. Let's see Adi Shankara's commentary right away. He writes just 3 or 4 sentences to lead us to the very first verse of this 10th chapter. Saptame adhyaye bhagavataha tattvam vibhutayascha pradarshitaha. Saptame adhyaye. In the 7th chapter, on one hand, bhagavataha tattvam. When we use the word tattvam, it means the inmost true nature. Vibhutayaha, glories, are a matter of how that tattva, that principle, expresses itself. If you are a student of, let us say, physics, you ought to know what is electricity essentially, in principle. One definition could be it's the flow of electrons. Electricity. Electrons in millions pass through a wire, and that is electricity. That is the tattva. But then the glories of electricity are seen in so many applications. Today, the cities of India have a good number of electric cars moving on the roads. Many people, though not a large number, but a good number of people are saying goodbye to petrol, to diesel. They have electric cars with green boards. The moment you see a green board, license plate, you know that it is an electric car. That's one of the vibhuti. Otherwise, countless are the expressions of electricity. So is the case with God. God, in principle, is Satchit, but his expressions are countless. He is the one who brings rains. He is the one who causes drought, hurricanes and tempests, tornadoes and cyclones, and many other varieties of unbelievable expressions of wind are all caused by God. Shankaracharya rightly adds Navamecha, Saptame in the 7th chapter and in the 9th chapter too. 9th chapter also does both. Tells us the principle, the essential nature of God and various manifestations. In the 10th chapter, you have the verse, for example, I am the father, I am the mother, I am father's father too. Pitahamasya jagataha, mata dhata pitamahaha, vedyam pavitram onkaraha, Ruksama yajurevacha. I bring rains, I withhold rains. There are a number of uplifting verses in both the 7th chapter and the 9th chapter, and Adi Shankaracharya makes a mention. Now, why then is this 10th chapter again, if that is what is coming once more? Sri Krishna says, Atha idanim, Atha thereafter idanim. Now, Yeshu Yeshu Bhaveshu Chintyaha. All that is wonderful, but in a day-to-day life, how am I to contemplate on God? How am I to think of God? That is upasana. We need to give our mind an exercise. There was a certain, I guess, paint company, Jensen and Nicholson or something. They had always an advertisement. Wherever you see color, think of Jensen and Nicholson. And then the whole big, huge hoarding will just have that one line. Wherever you see color, think of. In India, we have Asian Paints, Nerolac Paints, and so many paints companies. It applies to them too because their job is to apply color. Maybe the facade of a house or the interior, the walls of some houses or any office buildings or anything for that matter. You want to paint something up and down, left and right, you go by and what's your idea? Should have a certain color. Wherever you see color, wow, what a beautiful color. Think of us, says Jensen and Nicholson, if I remember right. There's some company. Now, Upasana is on that principle. You see the Himalayas, you should be able to think of God. You see river Ganga, you should be able to think of God. You see anything majestic, anything in this world or in the heavens. Even in heaven, you can think of Indra and others, or even their vehicles. Indra goes on a very divine horse called Shayvas. So Sri Krishna says, when you think of horses, you surely will think of that divine horse called Shayvas, Shravāha. And that's the best of all the horses in the universe, in the creation. Shravāsamashvānam Vidhi. So you will have a lot of poetry in this chapter, but it's not just for appreciation of literature. The hidden purpose or the deeper purpose is to help us dedicate our life to God. Yeshu yeshu bhaveshu chintyaha, chintaniyaha, chintitavyaha. How are we to contemplate? How is God to be thought about? Can you give us some ways, some methods, some suitable and helpful techniques? And Lord Sri Krishna says that's the very purpose of this chapter. Adi Shankara Acharya says, Yeshu Yeshu cha bhaveshu chintyaha bhagavan te te bhavaha vaktavyaha. In Indian languages, we repeat a word, ye, yeshu, yeshu, te, teshu, teshu, which is not done generally in English, though some places you may use. There were many varieties. Many is repeated. But you cannot say, I went somewhere, there were a lot of small plants. And that's grammar. Oh, let's not care too much for grammar. But that small plants is not a proper expression, I believe. But many is allowed. So, bhaveshu, yeshu cha bhaveshu. There was a program by some ashram घर घर में गीता, घर घर में गीता, Hindi. Bhagavad Gita, you can't translate in English as in house, house. You rather say Bhagavad Gita in every house. Take Gita to every house. Ghar ghar mein Gita. I guess in most Indian languages, it is similar to Hindi in this context. Otherwise, there are a lot of differences, as you know well, between Indian languages also. Some of us from South India had a hard time learning Hindi in the early years. Later on, we got a grip on it. They would say Ajkal, and our mind would translate Ajkal in Hindi, today and yesterday, or today and tomorrow. But as most of you, if not all, know, in Hindi, when you say Ajkal, it means in these days. In these days, to say in these days, they use the expression Ajkal. We don't do that in so many other languages, especially I can vouch for South Indian languages. So this comes again and again in the Bhashya, therefore I thought it's worthwhile making a comment. Yeshu yeshu bhaveshu chintyaha te te bhavaha vaktavyaha. Those forms, those ways, those expressions, those manifestations of God ought to be mentioned. And as said before, not just expression, tattvam cha, the inner truth. Tattvam cha bhagavato vaktavyam uktamapi. It has been said before. But out of great compassion for the sadhaks, for the students, for the spiritual practitioners, some of those are said again in a little different way. So it's not exactly punarukti. To some extent, yes, but in another way, they are expressed in some new form. Durvideyatvat. One in 100 may understand and hold it in her grasp right in the beginning, first time. But 99 need to be told again and again. Vidneya means something that can be known. Durvidneya means something that cannot be so easily known. Something that is hard to know. Ityataha Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Therefore, with this need in his mind, Bhagavan, the revered Lord, spoke without Arjuna asking a question at this moment. Sri Krishna himself opens up here. The 10th chapter, running to 42 verses, is longer than the 9th chapter, but shorter than the 11th, longer than the 12th. As you know, the number of shlokas in the Bhagavad Gita run from the smallest 12th chapter or 15th chapter, which have only 20 verses in each, and to the longest 78 verses in the 18th chapter, 72 verses in the second chapter. So there are chapters of different sizes, as they say in a wonderful shop. We have things here to suit your pocket, to match your purse. How much budget do you have? Accordingly, we will show you our products. Like that, you and I sometimes have very little time, but we want to read a whole chapter. Or teach a boy, teach a girl, teach our children a whole chapter. If the time is a constraint, go for the 12th verse, 12th chapter. Bhakti Yoga. But if there is ample time, and moreover, the child whom you want to teach is quite intelligent, quite eager to learn, quite cooperative, quite hungry for learning some chanting, then I don't mind if you start with the 18th chapter. Teach that girl, that boy, 78 verses. But here, 42 is somewhere in the middle. So we see, without dilly-dallying, the first verse of this 10th chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuya Eva Mahabaho Shranu Me Paramam Vachaha Yatte Ham Priyamanaya Vakshyami Hita Kamyaya. The revered Lord Bhagavan said, Mahabaho, O mighty armed Arjuna, you and I may not be mighty armed right away, but the spiritual science claims that every one of us has the potential to become Mahabahu, valiant, heroic, powerful, strong, efficient, effective, intelligent. So Mahabahu does not have to be taken only in physical context, it's in emotional, intellectual context also. Capable of thinking big, capable of organizing something in a grand way. I just now came back from Mysore, where we had a 4 days Mysore Yoga Utsava. It was wonderfully organized. In spite of a little rains, which was not expected, but because of some cyclone that passed through India, the city of Mysore had a little rains. Even the inaugural function, guests, chief guest and other guests on the dais, and a lot of us in the audience all got a little wet. I got cold also next day because drops falling upon the head. But no matter what, the organizers did a splendid job. Everybody appreciated. Wow, what a beautiful venue. What beautiful stage decoration. What a galaxy of speakers. How wonderful. And the joy in the air. The good vibrations. Of course, good food. Good food and some cultural programs also. So to organize such a program requires you to be a Mahabahu. Little people cannot organize. They mess up everything. Then later regret. Later apologize. Sorry, sorry, and so on. In Bangalore once I watched. An older brother said to a younger sister, Sorry, I did not do it rightly. The younger sister said, I don't have a lorry to carry your sorries. Lorry is a truck, you know. I don't have a lorry to carry your sorries. Don't say sorry anymore, but do things rightly. Here onwards. Smart girl gave it back to the older brother. So Mahabahu, Puja Swami Chinmayananji always used to bring a spirit of being heroic. He used to use a bit hyperbolic expressions. You can be master of any situation and so on. He happened to be one by and large. But for all of us, it was not so easy. He was quite a master of any situation, small and big. The efficiency, the energy, the enthusiasm, everything. He sparkled. Once in the evening, we had set up a nice cultural program in his ashram in Mumbai. I guess I was a student that time, if I remember right. And everything was set, and he was expected to arrive. And as he arrived, some boys started, playing some musical instruments, which was all fine. But as he came, he was entering the open air theater on the terrace of a round building, which is in the Powai ashram of Chinmaya Mission. Some of us could hear, not all could hear him saying, he raised his eyebrows and said to one volunteer, This electric wire is right on the path. Cover it with some carpet or something. And the volunteers ran and brought some. Otherwise, you have an electric wire. Even if it's insulated, it can cause somebody to trip and fall and all that. He ensured. Whether it is public address system, the microphone, the amplifier, the loudspeaker, the whole thing, as you know. He had an eye on everything and would train his students. I myself once wrote quickly a letter to him on a typewriter. I knew typewriting even now I have learned typewriting. Without seeing the keyboard, I can go. Though I quickly verify a little bit in the middle. So there was a typewriter in our storeroom in the ashram. So I went over there and because somebody was going to Singapore and Gurudev was in Singapore and that lady or man said to me, if you have something to take to Swamiji, give me. I'm going there and I can hand over. Wait, then give me 20 minutes. I said, I typed and signed. And the devotee took it to Singapore. Within 2 days, I get a letter back answering all my questions and queries and comments. He did. And finally, there was a footnote. I cannot forget. Change the ribbon in that typewriter. Some places the letters are not clear. So he was a perfectionist. So change the ribbon. All of you know. Now it's outdated. Good old days, we would have those typewriters. There is ribbon, multiple colors also. You type a line and you yourself come back to the beginning of the next line. Oh, I have forgotten all that now, but I remember having done. So that's not required now anymore to elaborate. Mahabahu, I am saying, can mean a certain realization of our hidden potential in various ways. Doesn't have to be in wrestling or in physical encounters. Bhuya eva. Arjuna, I have said this all, but again. Bhuyaha means again. Bhuyaha eva. Bhuyopi. It's a synonym in that sense of punar. Punareva. Punarapi. Shranu. Listen to me. Mama. Me means mama. Alternative form of mama is me. Mama paramam vachaha. These very important words. Don't let your mind wander at this moment. Listen with all attention. And why am I saying again to you? Priyamanaya te. I'm saying to you who I notice. I'm noticing that you are being, literally to translate Priyamana, being pleased. You are being delighted. My teachings don't seem to bore you. My teachings do not seem to stress you. On the contrary, literally Priyamana is a passive present participle. Like Kurvan is active, Kriyamana is passive. So to do, to be done. So Priyamana, because there's a root called Prinati and Priyamana. So like Modamana. But Modamana is active, Priyamana is passive. That is required because otherwise, if you don't put it in passive, it would mean Arjuna is making Sri Krishna happy. But Priyamana means you are made happy by my words so far. I see your face lighting up in joy. Priyamanaya. Therefore, Vakshyami. Hita Kamyaya. Keeping your Kamya what you need, what you desire, what is good for you. Hita, hita kamya. What is desired for your hita, for your well-being. So hita kamya is the word, then hita kamya. Ya. Out of a desire to bless you, to benefit you, I am telling you. Simple words, but you may say, well, there is no philosophy here. Maybe not much philosophy, but these are necessary in any scripture to make what follows more interesting. To draw our attention to something that is coming, which may have solid teachings. There are such verses which are required, which make us pay more attention. As Arjuna has to pay more attention, you and I studying Gita also will then be more drawn to what Bhagavan will say later. Shankara Bhāshya goes, you may say Shankara Bhāshya or Shankara Bhāshya. Both are correct. Shankara Bhāshya is a Tatpurusha Samasa, Shankarasya Bhāshyam, Shankara Bhāshyam. Shankara Bhāshya is a Karmadarya Samasa, Shankaram Bhāshyam. Where Shankaram means that which belongs to Shankara. So grammatically, both are right. Sometimes people ask me, is it right to say Shankara Bhashya or Shankara Bhashya? Both are correct. Karuna also is correct. Karunya is also correct. Both mean compassion. So in the Shankara Bhashya or Shankara Bhashya, you have simple explanation for what Lord Krishna said in the very first verse of this 10th chapter. Bhuya eva means bhuyaha punaha he mahabaho, O mighty armed soldier. Shanu me means madiyam, my words. Paramam prakrishtam. This is supreme. This is of a very fine order. These are not some ordinary teachings. This is on a higher plane altogether. Something you need to understand with all your capacity. Put your head and heart into this. Niratishaya vastunaha prakashakam vachaha. What makes it paramam is, it is prakashakam. These words which I am going to now say to you are prakashakam. They throw light on, they illumine a certain subject, vastu. And that vastu is of unsurpassed importance. Atishaya means excelling. Nothing else can excel this. This is on top. निरतिशय वस्तुनः प्रकाशकं वचः वाक्यं यत् परमं ते तुभ्यं प्रीयमाणाय. Shankaracharya also supports I drew it from there only. He gives that passive voice structure. Madvachanat priyase. You are delighted by my words. I have been noticing how even in this battlefield you are able to forget everything else and listen to me. Priyamanaya, Madvachanat Priyase. He doesn't say Madvachanat Prinasi. Prinasi would have been active voice. Priyase. You are delighted. And the Kradanta form we call it, the participle form, Priyamanaya. Tvam Ativa Amritamiva Piban. Like somebody drinking nectar. Every drop of nectar the person drinks, the face lights up. Ah, like that, I have been watching you, Arjuna. Amritam piban iva. Piban is active participle. Piyamanaha is passive. But here piban is required. Arjuna drinks. While drinking the nectar of Sri Krishna's sermons, Arjuna is surely ready to hear more. Vakshyami hita kamyaya, hita ichchaya. Apparently, there is a word kamya, which is a synonym of icha. So, ichaya. So, very simple. We go now to the second shloka. A question arises, but for what exact purpose do you want to say more on what was said already, especially in the 7th and 9th chapters? Kimartham aham vakshyami iti. Ataha aha. न मे विदुः सुरगणाः प्रभवं न महर्षयः अहमादिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वशः. I am telling you this, even though it may be a repetition in some sense, because hardly anyone knows me. Even gods in the heavens, Suragana, the citizens of Indra's Swarga, they are all meritorious Jivatmas who are there for some time. Suraganaha name namam viduhu. And my power, my influence. Shankara first gives the meaning prabhava to the word prabhava, then he gives a second meaning too. Let's see it. But I'll at this moment share the first meaning that Bhashyakara gives. Prabhava actually here means prabhava. Prabhava means impact. How I impact everything in the entire universe. Even a little seed opening up, becoming a sprout, and then becoming a plant. Very quietly, no noise, when a seed sprouts and is on its way to becoming a plant. Or thunderous things which draw everybody's attention. In this universe, there are countless phenomena which can make us raise our eyebrows. And therefore, God's presence actually is everywhere in everything. But even Maharshis, Shankara writes, Bhraguhu ityadaya. Great rishis like Bhragu, maybe Agastya, Vasishta, and all of them are meant. Maharshis, great sages also, do not know, because that is what Maya does to everybody. Maya throws its net, and Maya belongs to God only. Devi Hyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Seventh chapter had said that also. Mameva ye prapadyante Maya metam tarantite. So this Maya makes everybody, even the most learned, fall for some temptation, some provocation, some distraction, some influences from this world of names and forms about which they know in a way that it is all a passing show, but they go after. Therefore, I must tell you, Arjuna, Aham Adirhi Devana. Why they don't know is much before they came to this earth or to any other world where they live. I have been in the universe, pervading the universe, influencing the universe, directing how the universe moves on. Aham Adirhi Bhutanam, or here Devanam, somewhere else I guess Bhutanam comes. I am much before Devas. I am much before Maharshis. Or the word Adi means the source. I am the source of Deva. Because Shashti Vibhakti is used. Otherwise, before means it requires fifth case. I am before, I am earlier than. Than is Panchami. But here Devanam, Maharshinam is Shashti Vibhakti. I am the source of Devas. I am the source of Maharshis. They know everything else, but they don't know where from they came. For that looking back is not easy. Adi Shankaracharya says, Na me viduhu na jananti. Na viduhu is na jananti. A good portion of the commentaries are simple translations or simple synonyms. So you don't understand the word given in the shloka, you understand what the commentator supplies. Na viduhu here means na jananti. They don't know who are they. Suraganaha Brahma Adaya. Starting with Chaturmukha Brahma. He creates everything at the behest of the Supreme Lord. Though he is the creator, he himself doesn't know. So Chaturmukha Brahma, though rarely, Chaturmukha Brahma also rarely comes under Maya, Moha Maya. Kim te na vidu. Why do they not know? Or what do they not know? Kim is not Kasmat. Kim. What do they not know? Mama Prabhavam. The word used in the shloka is Prabhava, but it is translated as Prabhava. Mama Prabhavam. Prabhu Shakti Atishayam. Because Prabhava and Prabhava can be considered as coming from the word Prabhu. Prabhoho Bhava Prabhava. Prabhu Shakti. Prabhu is the master, the Lord who controls everything. Prabhu Shakti Atishayam. But Adi Shankaracharya hastens to add, well, if you want, don't change the word Prabhava to Prabhava. Keep it as Prabhava. Prabhava means birth. Prabhava means Utpatti. Athava Prabhavam Prabhavanam Utpattim. My source, how I come into being, nobody knows. The truth is, he never comes into being, he is. God was, is, and will be. It is you and I who come and go. God was, God is, and God will be. So not only gods like Chaturmukha Brahma, Napi Maharshayaha, Bhragvadayaha, Viduhu, Bhragu and others. There are some Saptarshis, there are so many Rishis. Some are included in the list of seven, some are outside that list of seven, but Rishis are many. Kasmat te na vidu. Why do they not know? Uchyate, it is being said. Aham adihi, I am their source, I am the cause. Karanaha, karanam. Aham adihi, karanam hi asmat, devana, maharshinancha. Sarvashaha, sarva prakarai. Everything they possess, everything they get proud about, and every shortcoming that they feel embarrassed about have all come from me. I have designed them the way they are. It is all my making. If Durvasa has anger, I made him like that. If Vasishta has tremendous patience, I made him like that. If Indra has here and there some tendency to fall for temptations, I made him like that. If Indra gets jealous of some king on the earth who is amassing so much of merit and is possibly coming to replace me, so Indra gets so jealous, he'll go try and disturb the austerities of that king. So rishis and devas and human beings, all of them are whatever they are, thanks to Bhagavan wanting it that way. Sarvashaha Sarva Prakarai. In this way, Sri Krishna himself opens this chapter with a bang. I am going to let you know all my glories and once more my true essential nature, which will help you, Arjuna, to engage with divine thoughts. For the cause for misery on the earth is we have let our minds indulge, engage in paltry things which tickle us for a while and later cause so much sorrow. which give to us happiness that doesn't last. We get stuck, we regret, but then it is generally too late. Therefore, in order that we don't get stuck, we don't get caught in this magical world, we must have divine contemplation as something that comes to our rescue. So you will be seeing that this 10th chapter has a tremendous value in spiritual practices. More than philosophy, it has tools that you and I may collect, and we use these tools to raise the level of our spiritual practices. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.